The water bear is back and he is ready to dominate Unite once again. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. My name is Nintendo Jab, of course, and today we have some really cool gameplay to go ahead and look at in regards to Urshifu, specifically the rapid strike style, or the water bear as people like to call him. So if you've been playing Unite over the last couple of days, you might have noticed a big increase in Urshifu players, and it's because he was actually buffed a couple of days ago in that patch that we got. Both the dark style and water style forms of Urshifu got buffed, but I personally think that rapid strike style, aka that water style, is the go-to one that you want to play with Urshifu, because it's just a really good build right now to go for him, specifically with a couple of items. Me personally, the items that I chose for this video and the ones that I think are pretty good on him, I chose the one of the newer items, of course, Axel Bracer. This gives Urshifu some attack, it gives him some cooldown reduction, which is of course going to help with spamming those abilities, and it also allows you to stack. Of course, the more stacks you get, the more attack you get. It's just going to make you a very intimidating threat, and that cooldown reduction as well, again, it's just going to make it so that you can actually use surging strikes more often, and it just makes you a bigger threat than I think what we had before. Basically, that was one of the things that they specifically buffed about surging strikes, was they actually reduced the cooldown by 1 second. That doesn't sound like that much, but you do have to remember that every time you're auto attacking after using one of the dashes in surging strikes, it's reducing the cooldown. So if you do end up using something like Axel Bracer with that cooldown reduction, if you time things right and stuff, you can actually have this ability like constantly up, very low cooldown on this ability when you use it properly, and it's just a really solid item, I think, on Urshifu. The other two items that I used as well were Muscle Band, which is kind of like a go-to item for Urshifu. You get that attack, you get that attack speed, it just helps with those auto attacks and stuff, and then I also ran Razor Claw because, again, it gives you attack, it gives you some critical hit rate. This one I feel like you could definitely switch up and change for other things if you want to be a little bit more tankier. Maybe you want to use weakness policy. There's a couple of different things that you can use. I personally just ran Razor Claw, and I think it actually worked pretty well overall. So yeah, when it comes to the buffs that Urshifu got, I think really the star here for the rapid strike style is that surging strikes cooldown reduction that it got. It's only 1 second again, but it really does help with keeping those combos going, with just having surging strikes always available, again, if you can time it right and stuff like that. They also did buff liquidation. I believe it gives you a like 8% shield or something like that now, so that is a pretty nice buff as well. I feel like before these buffs, I wasn't really seeing Urshifu played all that often. It was kind of rare, and I feel like it's because he just wasn't the best pick. I mean, most people were not really playing Urshifu unless you just really like that specific Pokemon, because he just wasn't the best pick. I think he does generally do better in the jungle, but he's by far, or at least before, he was by far like the best jungler or anything. There was obviously better picks that you could choose, and so I feel like we just didn't really see Urshifu played all that much. But now I'm noticing that there's like an Urshifu every game, or every other game at least, because these buffs really did do a solid in bringing him back into the meta a little bit. I think with the rapid strike style buffs as well as the Axel Bracer, it just makes Urshifu a really solid pick right now. You can't really go wrong with it. The only thing that I wish they kind of would address a little bit more for this specific form is his ultimate. It's so easy to cancel. So many Pokemon can like dash out of it, or you get like hit and then all of a sudden the ultimate just stops and stuff. It continues, at least in my opinion, it continues to be one of the weaker parts of the rapid strike style kit. I do feel like the other ultimate that you get with the single strike style, I feel like that ultimate is significantly better and more reliable, whereas with this one, I feel like the bread and butter here with this build is surging strikes as well as liquidation and stuff. The ultimate is nice, of course, but for the most part, it feels like it doesn't really do that much damage. It feels like it's easily like interceptable and stuff, and it just kind of sucks, to be completely honest. But yeah, I think these buffs did a really good job at bringing Urshifu back to like a more than playable state. I think he was playable before under certain conditions, but for now, I think he's actually in a pretty solid spot overall. And again, I feel like I just keep seeing more and more people notice that, because since the buff's on, I believe it was the 19th of August, I've been seeing Urshifu now in games a lot more often, and I like that because I like Urshifu. I think he's a really cool Pokemon, and I like that you know, we are able to actually play him again and actually have him as like a viable option. Some things I would definitely mention just to like keep in mind and stuff is just like always, you know, like what I just mentioned right now a little bit too, you know, you can easily have things like interrupted and it just kind of ruins your whole flow. So you do have to keep crowd control in mind, you know, stuns, knockups, pushbacks, things like that. Those can really mess you up, and then you're kind of just done. So that's one of the reasons why I think you should take X speed or even eject button, just to be able to get out of a situation that's like unfavorable for you. Just because if they interrupt your stuff, it could just ruin your whole flow, and then now you have no way of really getting out there. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. Another thing too is, again, that ultimate, it just, at least for me, it just doesn't really feel that strong. So you know, definitely like use it appropriately, of course, but it's also probably not going to kill anyone. It's like even squishies and stuff. If anything, it's really just to lock down a single target and get yourself in melee range so that you can use your normal abilities to kill them, because most likely his Unite ability is not going to actually do much. I don't know, that's just me. That's just kind of been my experience with this ultimate ability and stuff. But I mean, you know, I personally think that Surging Strikes and Liquidation do a lot more to actually get kills and stuff versus his ultimate ability, but I could be wrong, and maybe, you know, you think differently. Let me know in the comments down below if you do think differently. I definitely need to spend more time with this build so that I could get the Surging Strikes combos and stuff down, because there are some people that know how to time his auto attacks with the Surging Strike, with Liquidation and stuff. They know how to time it so well that you basically always have Surging Strikes up off of cooldown. It's kind of crazy. I think right now I'm not at that particular skill level with Urshifu to be able to do that. But I do want to get to that point. I think maybe instead of that Razor Claw, maybe even running Energy Amplifier might be a good item to maybe get more familiar with the cooldowns and stuff. If you guys don't know, Energy Amplifier, of course, gives you that 4.5 cooldown reduction. So that combined with Axel Bracer, you already go into a match with 9% cooldown, which is kind of crazy. And so, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do, I think, here. And we're only talking about Water Urshifu, by the way. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the Dark Style Urshifu also got buffed. I believe with Wicked Blow, it normally slows you down when you're charging up Wicked Blow. I think that slowdown is now less. I think it used to be like a 40% movement decrease, and now it's like 30. So you're going to be a little bit faster, which that is nice. And then I think they also buffed Throat Chop to make it so that it reduces the cooldown of Wicked Blow a little bit more, or something like that. But they also did buff the Dark Style Urshifu, so if you do prefer that version, that one also got buffed too. And I think with some of these items like Excel Bracer and stuff, I think you will be able to do really well with Dark Style Urshifu too. But yeah, make sure to let me know in the comments down below if you guys have been playing Water Urshifu or Dark Style Urshifu since the updates a couple days ago. I think it's been a really good patch so far. I haven't checked out every single Pokemon that was buffed or nerfed or stuff like that. I know Ho-Oh was a big one that was nerfed. That's someone that I used to rely on to play the defender role, and that one unfortunately got I mean, I say unfortunately, but it was kind of needed, right? The nerf that Ho-Oh got. But yeah, so far I'm liking the Urshifu stuff. I'm liking these updates that Pokemon Unite are bringing to the game. I like some of the Pokemon that are going to be coming in the future, like we mentioned in our previous videos. We got Palmot coming soon. We've got Delmise. We've got Empoleon. We got Vaporeon. Maybe Mega Charizard X. I made a video talking about some speculation in regards to that. If you haven't watched that, definitely recommend watching it. But yeah, really cool stuff coming to Pokemon Unite. I'm liking these updates. I'm liking these you know, balance changes and stuff like that. Let me know what you guys think of the latest patch down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I've been posting regular Pokemon Unite content here on the channel. I also want to make some other Pokemon content, maybe Legends ZA when that comes out in October. That could be really cool to go ahead and make videos on, maybe even stream it and stuff. We haven't done a stream yet here on the channel, which would be pretty cool to do with either Unite or Legends CA. So yeah, make sure to subscribe so you do not miss out on that. Oh, and just a comment on this part of the game. As you guys can see, we have literally just a few seconds left in the game. I went ahead, we got the Rayquaza, and look, the last few seconds, if I wouldn't have scored here, we would have lost the game. I think we won by just a couple of points, and I'm actually surprised that it counted, because as you can see, it didn't even show plus 100 on my screen or anything, so I didn't think it was going to actually go through, but it did. This is probably like one of the last second scores I've ever done, and as you can see, look, we literally won by like, what, 8 points, 7 points? But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.